previous two Narnia films had set the bar very high, and we needed to keep that momentum going.
If we did get the entrance into Narnia wrong, then it would set a bad tone for the rest of the film.
Well, it was dodgy whether we would succeed.
It was imperative that we get it right.
I think we all had our hearts in our mouths when we were doing it.
The Voyage of the Dawn Treader is the third film in the Chronicles of Narnia series. The two youngest Pevensey children, Edmund and Lucy, go back to Narnia, dragging along with them their obnoxious cousin, Eustace.
Where in the blazes am I?
You're on the Dawn Treader. Was it something I said?
Narnia is in deep danger. They have to voyage with their old friend, Prince, but now King Caspian,
Now is the time to be strong.
into the unknown territories of the Eastern Ocean.
Aslan's country.
Do you really believe there's such a place?
We have nothing if not belief.
And together, they have to defeat the enemy, defeat evil.
The fate of Narnia depends on you.
The through the picture scene is very important to the film because one of the big challenges of doing a Narnia film is how do you get them into Narnia? And, you know, you always really want to up the ante.
The two Pevensey children, Edmund and Lucy, are upstairs in the bedroom with their cousin Eustace.
There once were two orphans who wasted their time believing in Narnian nursery rhyme.
Lucy notices that a picture on the wall has a ship that looks very Narnian.
Edmund, it looks like the water's actually moving.
What rubbish, see? That's what happens when you read all those fanciful novels and fairy tales.
We next see her with wind blowing in her hair and spray coming out, and then water comes pouring out of the painting.
What's going on here?
The room starts to fill with water, and before you know it, the Pevenseys swim up to the top, and
Just as they're catching their breaths, they see this huge ship, the Dawn Treader, coming upon them. It's a wonderful and unexpected entrance into Narnia.
Caspian!
Lucy, we're in Narnia. Yes, you're in Narnia.
I don't want to go! I want to go back to England!
I think the through the picture scene is very important because it's the first big moment in the piece. In some ways, we're putting our cards on the table. This is a big film. Here is the beginning of the adventure.
It's a really important scene to get us into Narnia and do it with magic and get the punch going in the film.
And it had better look exciting and it had better look real.
It's so huge that if we fouled up the entrance into Narnia here, I think we would have lost the audience from the very beginning.
So the consequence would have been catastrophic for us if we hadn't been able to do it.
I was thinking, if this is done right, it will look really fantastic. I also thought it's going to be very tricky to do.
And so our first big challenge was when we shot the scene, we didn't have a picture, we had a frame. And behind the frame, we had all sorts of pumps. In the first stages of it, we had little bits of water coming out. As the water became bigger and bigger, then we had huge pumps pouring water out of it. You know, we aimed for what I thought was the great moment in the scene.
Oh, just smash the wrong thing.
Eustace goes over, picks the picture up, takes it away from the wall, and the water keeps pouring out. So you go, oh my God.
And that meant exposing all of the hose pipes and the crew and the green screen that were behind, and we ended up replacing the back of the painting so you actually see behind the painting at the same time as all the water is gushing out onto the children.
It's very important for us to get the visual effects to fit seamlessly into the action. The special effects you do live. With the visual effects, you know, they come in afterwards, and they just have to be very skillful the way they handle the materials they are given to make sure it knits together.
So we've established that gallons of water are entering the room. To do this, we had these incredible sets.
One, the real set, which was a dry set where we have lots of scenes in at the beginning of the film, and an exact replica of the set, but we had to build that in a big tank.
Rather than fill the room with water, we sank the room into the water.
And the set in the tank could be raised or lowered by huge cranes.
And the cameras were locked off inside the set. So when the set went into the water, it would appear as though the water came up this way.
It was only until I actually went to the set and kind of saw it happen and saw the stunties do like a test drive of it, when I thought, oh, okay, that's how it works.
Like anything else, it's preparation, and we had this set built way before we actually shot it.
It's a completely huge idea, and to put that into practice is really, really hard.
All right, here we go. Start the water.
One of the biggest logistical challenges of this entrance into Narnia scene was, quite frankly, safety, because we have 3 very recognizable actors submerged in water for almost all of the scene. It had to be the actors themselves.
We get dunked, pretty much, and flail around and pretend like we're acting and we're actually getting dunked.
If it had looked as though it was stunt doubles doing it, I think an audience would have sensed there was something not right about it. Why don't we see their faces here? It would have been very bad for us to have looked as though we'd kind of shirked it and found an easy way through it.
Cutting, cut.
To make it safe and yet exciting, you have to prepare everybody. You have to prepare the children. They have to be expert at being submerged for some time, so they have to have scuba lessons. And I think that was the only way that we could really make it look convincing, is their preparation and their guts to do it.
Acting underwater is a big deal.
They had to learn how to get oxygen because they would be down on the bottom of the set with the stunt guys who were holding them. And then when the set began to move, then they would have to drink in oxygen and then do their work.
I did feel more comfortable being underwater and, you know, kind of controlling my breathing after having that training, but it was still pretty daunting.
It was possible that they could bump their heads.
Flailing around, crashing into things, a window there, a bed there, a bookcase there, it's hard.
And so we had to attach the furniture on piano wire so it could still float, but it wouldn't go in front of the camera or put anybody in harm's way.
It's hard to hit your marks when you're underwater, and you do have to hit your marks.
In the very last part of the sequence, when you see them, they've now escaped from the room they're in. They seem to be underneath some vast ocean, and they're floating up, you know, towards what it was another much bigger tank outside, surrounded in blue screen, which became the ocean.
I'm not a bad swimmer, but treading water for 5 hours was very exhausting.
That was very tricky because they were in a lot of water then, and that tank was very, very deep. But it has to look exciting, so they've got to do it.
But I think when you have such a great team around you, like stunt guys and your cast members, you just forget about it.
Listen, have you seen this ship before?
Yes. It's very Narnian looking, isn't it?
Just another reminder that we're here and not there.
What's so fascinating about that picture anyway? It's hideous.
There once was a boy called Eustace who read books full of facts that were useless.
People who read fairy tales are always the sort that become a hideous burden to people like me.
Hideous burden? I haven't seen you lift a finger since we've been here.
Edmund, the painting.
Whoa. What's going on here?
Lucy, to think...
It's some kind of trick. Stop it or I'll tell Mother! Mother! Mother!
I think our heart was in our mouths when we were doing this stuff, but we did pull it off. It's a pretty stunning looking scene.
You know, it's a little room, and then magically the children are washed into Narnia.
The sequence looks great. We've achieved something that couldn't exist, and that's always our aim.
It's a cool scene in the film.
Audiences will be surprised. They won't know what's happening. All of a sudden, they're in Narnia.